Let's get some prize picks in today, guys. Last night, honestly, did not go well. Went 3-3, and I know Christian Walker got taken off the board. I said replace with Marte runs. That also missed. But no matter what, this was an L entry because we went 3-3 at most, and we got nothing in return because you need at least 4 out of 6. The Lakers stack did hit, as you could see, both on the less. The Philly one did not go as well here. Both missed. Hooked on Embiid's 29.5 points there. And then Barnhart did not get his base. So we'll see if we can bounce back for tonight. But first, I want to address one thing from a comment yesterday. They asked, why is every single entry refunded? And guys, it's not because I don't have faith in my entries. It's because I'm literally limited and I'm not allowed to play entries down. So if I go over to the Prizepicks board, no matter what sport I do, if I try to put $25, for example, you're going to see that my maximum entry amount for one of the sports in my entry is $5 right now. Basically means I'm only allowed to put $5 down per entry. If I put $5 on this, you're going to see it goes through. Now, the thing is, I'm allowed to put $5 per entry, but I'm only allowed a maximum of 5 slips a day. So I'll just show you right now. I'm putting just some random slips, $5 each. I already have 3 slips in the queue, and I just played another 2. Now, if I try to play a 6th slip, guess what it tells me? Maximum daily amount is 10,000 right now. I don't know why it says that specific number, but I could just show you my entries here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm not allowed to place anymore. If I go to this tab, you see I'm not allowed to play anymore. So what I have to do, since I'm running a Discord, I actually have to cancel these entries as soon as I play them, because you can see when I cancel this entry, it says entry successfully refunded. Now I get my limits back, so I'm allowed to place another slip. And the reason I need to place the slip is because to actually send a link to my Discord, I have to go here, click share entry. Then you're going to see it's copied entry link to clipboard. And then I could actually send the link straight to my Discord. So you can see if they click this exact link, they get the exact same entry. And the only way to do that is, of course, if I'm playing the actual slip to send the entry. Then I reset my limits so that I'm allowed to send more slips. So something says, guys, I've just been in the game for a long time, May 2022. 390k in amount one, so eventually Prizepicks gets you, especially during NFL when I was hitting slips like these ones right here, 25x, 10x here, and another 25x here, kind of on a weekly basis. So eventually they say, okay, we can't have you keep taking money from us. I was basically winning 2k per entry on every single 6-man because I was betting about $80 to $100 on these. So if you're kind of new to sports betting and just fantasy sports in general, it seems kind of crazy that they're allowed to just limit you to whatever they want. But yes, that's exactly how it works. Just Google sportsbooks limits. It's going to pop up everywhere. It's kind of like if you guys are into blackjack and you ever see those card counters, they get backed off at the casinos. We've all seen those videos before. That's exactly how it works. If they know you're going to keep making money over and over and over, they're going to limit you. And to show you on Underdog where my limits are still there, I have at least a $100 limit. I'm allowed to put $100 on this to win 600 and another one down here. If you guys go and check your Underdog accounts yourself, go check if you're allowed to put $2,000 max. You can see my max right here is $100 because again, Underdog, I've made money on them. They're a bit more lenient with the limits, allowing me to bet more than Prizepicks does, so I'm grateful for that. But you could see if I try to put 2,000, it's not going to go through because if I try to put 2,000, it's barred off because my max is 100. If you guys go check yours, it's probably a $2,000 limit or something like 1,000 because that's what mine were back in the day. And if you think of joining Discord but scared of limits, don't even worry about it. This guy, Frank the Tank right here, is up 11k in April and he's still not limited. So this was back in the day when football correlation was a big thing. They basically nuked everyone's account who was using football correlation. So now instead of limiting people, they just completely nerfed football correlation. So don't worry about limits as much. They're not as prevalent as they used to be like 5 months ago. So let's just get onto the board for today and make this full NBA slip. Tonight we are going to be making a 38x slip and we're going to start it off with Trey Murphy's Demon here on the over 3.5 3 points made. You can see he doesn't even have a regular line. It would probably be set at 3.0, but his Goblin is 2.5, his Demon is 3.5, and we're going to be taking this Demon. So Trey Murphy has been pretty good post All-Star break. Let's go and check his stats here. Pre-All-Star break, he was averaging way less minutes. He was also averaging less 3 points made per game. 2.5 all the way at 3.5 now post All-Star break. And he has a better 3-point percentage right here. 36.1% is now 39.7% post All-Star break. And that's a similar amount of games between the two because he was injured for a little while. So pretty good splits here on his post All-Star break stats. Also, if we check his recent game logs, he has been chucking up these 7 3-point attempts here. 6, 6, 9, 12, 12, 10, 6, 6, 10, 6, 9, 6. You guys get the point. The last time he chucked less than 6 threes in a game was here on March 21st. He did not even start this game and he chucked 5 threes. And he just chucks and chucks and chucks. You can see all these 3-point attempted. He's averaging about 8+ 3-point attempts and he's shooting at a 40% rate. So he hasn't been getting it done in these recent games, but in the past 6 right here, you could see he did make 6, 6, and 5. So he could hit this in about 50% of games, which is great to see when you're grabbing a Demon prop that's going to be juicing our payout a bunch. And if we go and check OKC's defense, they're not exactly the strongest against the 3-pointers. You can see OKC is about middle of the pack in terms of 3 points allowed, so it's nothing crazy in terms of defense. We don't have to worry about a tough matchup. So I'm liking the spot on Trey Murphy's over 3.5 3 points made. Now, when I'm grabbing someone like this, especially on 3 points made, that's going to be a lot of assisted points. I want to be grabbing an assister on the Pelicans. Now, I was looking at a couple of options, and I don't like any of them, honestly, on the assist prop. Go here, we see Ingram at 6 assists, we see Herb Jones at 2.5, and we also see CJ McCollum at 5.0. Now, I don't want to use these two push lines, and I also don't want to use Herb Jones. He's not that main assister on the team, and he does have juice towards his under. So what I will do instead is probably check out the rebounds plus assist props. But again, I already did, and I don't like either of these. So Brandon Ingram, again, still has that push line. CJ McCollum at the 9.5 assist mark is a decent shout, but I did check his juice on the sportsbooks, and there's heavy juice toward his under at 9.5. So I'm definitely not going with CJ. So I found another prop that kind of correlates and is looking good, and that's going to be Brandon Ingram on the over 1.5 first quarter assists. So typically the most assists and most points, most rebounds you're going to get are in that first quarter, and Ingram at 1.5 assists is looking nice and does correlate nicely with Trey Murphy. So even if just one of these two assists is an assist to Trey Murphy on a 3-pointer, that's going to look very nice for us at the end of the first quarter. We'll have this cash because ideally Ingram will hit this 2 assists. Then Trey Murphy will have at least 1 3 hopefully, and then maybe he gets 1 per quarter and eventually cashes this by the end of the game. And again, there is some nice juice towards Ingram's over 1.5 assists. You can see it's all the way up here at minus 125. So it's not like a perfect correlated play. It kind of just applies for the first quarter, but it is good to see. And imagine Ingram assists 2 3-pointers to Trey Murphy in the first quarter. That would be pretty good for us. It would be unlikely, but if Trey Murphy does get 2 3-pointers, you see that 90% of his 3-point field goal made are going to be assisted. So it wouldn't be out of the ordinary to see Ingram get 2 assists on 2 Trey Murphy threes. Moving on, we're going to the Indiana Pacers, and we're grabbing Tyrese Haliburton on his over 10.5 assists. And honestly, I know he has not been the same since the All-Star break. Go and check his recent games here. He did cash this versus Atlanta, 13 assists in only 25 minutes, which is great to see. 12 assists in 35 minutes versus Cleveland. And then you could see these terrible games here, like 5 assists, 8 assists versus the Raptors and Miami. Now, this is a playoff game. Giannis is also out. And you know these guys love beating Milwaukee. They beat them 4 out of 5 times this season. And one of those was in that in-season tournament. We all know how that went. He cashed this in 3 out of the 5 matchups. These were all pre-All-Star break, but 12 assists here, 11 here, and 15. Obviously, what is concerning is his status after that All-Star break. I mean, he's averaging less points from 21.8 to 17.3 and less assists from 11.7 to 9.6. Of course, there's that addition of Pascal Siakam that's going to be affecting his stats. But in general, I'm still comfortable with that assist mark at 10.5 because I am going to be pairing it up with another Pacers player. And I'm assuming if he hits his over 10.5 assists, this Pacers player will also go over. And that guy is going to be Nembhard on his over 10.5 points plus rebounds. I could also go with Naismith on his over 15.5 points plus rebounds. They're both good picks in terms of juice, but I'm liking Nembhard a bit better, and I'll get into that right now. So first of all, of course, Nembhard is that shooting guard for the Pacers, and if you go and check this defensive matchup versus shooting guards, Milwaukee are the 4th easiest matchup in terms of points allowed to that shooting guard position. If we go and check the small forward position where Naismith plays, of course, we're going to see them much lower, much tougher matchup, actually the hardest matchup in the whole league for that small forward position. So that's why I'm not really liking Naismith. I think it's a much easier matchup for Nembhard. And if we also see the rebounds allowed versus shooting guards, the Bucks are actually still up there. So they're an easy matchup in terms of points and an easy matchup in terms of rebounds versus that shooting guard position. On top of that, if we see Naismith, he has been a bit more inconsistent in covering this line compared to Nembhard, who's been basically clearing his points plus rebounds almost on his points alone. So you just need 10 points and a rebound, for example, and he clears this line nicely. Let's check the juice to end it off. Go over to this Pacers game versus the Bucks, player props, and then scroll all the way down here and then check out the points plus rebounds prop. You're going to see here Naismith does have that juice at minus 125, but so does Nembhard all the way up at minus 130. Remember, guys, the higher the minus, the more likely it is for it to occur. So Nembhard is that better pick in all directions. The one thing that Naismith has on Nembhard right here is that if you go and check the point from assist, Nembhard only has about 53.1% of field goals made coming from assists compared to Naismith, who does have 82.5%. So technically Naismith would build way better off that Tyrese Haliburton pick, but I still like it overall, especially when the Bucks do not have Giannis tonight. To end it off, I'm going to go with 2 cheeky plays. One of them is going to be Herbert Jones on his over 1.5 turnovers. You can see he does have juice towards that over, all the way up at minus 125. We're going to etch him in here on the over 1.5 turnovers. So since we're going for the turnovers and he is up against OKC, it makes sense to grab steals or steals and blocks from the opponent. And that opponent I'm going to go with is Shea on his over 2.5 blocks plus steals. Let's take a look at the juice on this too. Again, minus 130 towards that over 2.5. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that Shea is going to be stealing from Herb Jones, but it could happen, and that could be an extra turnover for Herb Jones, and that would be an extra steal for Shea. So these two guys would go up, obviously very positively correlated in terms of blocks and steals and opponent turnovers. So this is the full 6-man slip. We got that demon on Trey Murphy threes, and this is going to pay us 38x.